everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Hallmark Heartbeats, a podcast all about Hallmark movies. I am your host, Camille. And today, we are going to be talking about the newest Hallmark film, A Tale of Love, starring Chris McNally and Brittany Bristow. This was such a great film. It had a simple plot line, very simple characters, no, side stories, a very A to B to C movie. Easy to follow, easy to like, not complicated at all, and I absolutely love it. Sometimes movies don't need complications. Sometimes movies don't need 20 million characters and 5 stories to make a good movie. Sometimes all you need is just one central storyline, 2 main characters, strong supporting actors, and dogs. And it will make a great movie. And this is what this movie was. This was old Hallmark, classic Hallmark trope, with no bells and whistles, just plain and simple. And it was great. So let's start talking about it. The movie, again, stars Brittany Bristow and Chris McNally. They're both Hallmark legends, pretty much. Chris has been a regular series actor on When It Calls to Heart for the past 3 seasons. Season 6, 7, wait, no, take it back. 4? I guess it's 4 now. 6, 7, 8, and 9 seasons. He plays Lucas Bichard. We love him. I'm a huge Luca Beth fan. He's a wonderful actor. He's great. He's also been in several Hallmark movies. The Sweetest Heart, Sailing into Love. I mean, it's like he's a good actor. He's really fun. And then Brittany Bristow, she's been on several Hallmark movies. Usually she's played the best friend, sister, assistant. To many of the Hallmark movies, the first leading role that she did was Double Holiday Date, which was fun. I like that one too. That combined. It's, I think, one of Hallmark's first Hanukkah movies, even though it was more like a Hanukkah / Christmas movie, hence the holiday date. But yeah, it was a good movie. So again, with these Hallmark stables as the lead actors, it was very popular and long awaited for many fans. Anyway, this movie, the storyline is that Bella, who is played by Brittany, owns a dog rescue, and JR, who's played by Chris, owns the dog food company, Stocker Food Company, that had sold the dog rescue property to Bella's grandmother 25 years ago or whatever. But now that JR is going to sell the company to Rachel, who's like the Wicked Witch of this movie. Wicked Witch of Stockard. Rachel wants the rescue moved out of the property, and poof, be gone to the building, and she wants to tear everything down, etc. So anyway, the thing about it is, well, Grandma Dana, played by Jane, she was like, hey, look, I bought this property from JR's parents. We have paperwork, that says all this. It's somewhere in these 200 some boxes that your grandfather has been saving. and this is all mine, so we're not moving, right? Well, what's hilarious is this movie brought out the Hallmark fans who all of a sudden want Hallmark to be more real, if that makes sense. I mean, like, all of a sudden, all over Facebook and Twitter, all over social media, you get, like, property lawyers and real estate brokers and everything else talking about how this plot line makes no sense because there's got to be paperwork that shows that they paid property tax for their land, right? If that's actually their land, 25 years worth of it. And I'm sitting there going, Hallmark is fantasy land, right? Hallmark has been fantasy land for like 30 years since its existence, pretty much. And now all of a sudden you want reality seeped into the movie that these people pay property taxes, which has never happened before in any other Hallmark film. But I look at it like this. This movie was so good that people had to nitpick at it. And the only way they could find something to nitpick was that there was no records of property taxes being paid. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I am not a real estate broker. I don't know anything about property taxes or whatever. But for me, if that's the only problem that you had with this movie, well then, great movie. Yeah. It's just kind of weird for me for people to complain that it's not a real based on reality when well, let's see, there are not that many hidden royals going around the United States of America on a road trip or like stuck out in a B&B, small town B&B. There aren't time traveling trains either that I'm aware of. I mean, Hallmark is fantasy. We escape reality and stuff. But anyway, yeah. So I guess it was such a good movie that was the only thing that they could pick, so they pick on it. Anyway, JR and Bella go in search of this paperwork to prove that they own the property. Rachel, who's the person who's trying to buy Stockard Food Company, only gave them like 6 weeks to move out, which, I told Stephanie Moore, the actress who played Rachel, I was like, I don't like your character. For like first 10 minutes of the movie, I was like, oh, there's someone in this movie I do not like. And sure enough, I did not like her. You see, here's the thing. Rachel is like the perfect villain. And I say this with the highest compliment. Almost all Hallmark villains, and I put air quotes around that because they're not really villains, they have sort of a redemption arc. They have a change of heart. They don't sell the business. They, find out, they realize that they're not the one for the main character, etc. Rachel is just evil from beginning to end, and she's sneaky. She is so sneaky. So she gave Bella at the beginning of the movie like a 6-week notice or something. Like, y'all need to move out of the dog rescue at this time because I'm about to, buy the property and, kick y'all out, right? And JR is so nice and is so naive, and he promises Bella, hey, look, I'm going to try to get Rachel to give you like a 6-month extension or whatever. And he went up to Rachel and was like, hey, Rachel, what would help with your relationship with Bella is if you give her a 6-month extension. And instead of actually like giving him a yes or no, or like a straight up answer, she was like, oh, I'll think about it. We'll see. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Or, just kicking the ball to the next, later. Or whatever. And I absolutely love it. I love it. So, anyway, they go through this whole movie, JR and Bella, looking for the paperwork. Can't find the paperwork or whatever. Nana has a little romance starting with JR's lawyer, the Stockard family's lawyer, Edward. Ed, not Edward. Bella tries to find a new home with this Belgian Malinois named Indy. That she's a retired canine veteran. She came from Kandahar. Indy and JR slowly gets attached. I mean, Chris McNally loves dogs. He has 2 personal pit bulls. So that must not be hard to act like a dog lover. And Indy is so cute. She's adorable. Anyway, Bella and Nana are trying to find homes for these dogs, trying to raise money for her rescue, while at the same time trying to look for paperwork, as well as finding a new place to go to in case they can't find the paperwork to prove that they own this property, right? And Rachel's breathing down their neck and totally not giving any conclusive answer as to whether or not she will give them an extension, which, in my opinion, she never ever planned on giving them an extension, but she never told them no. She just kept giving them hopes that she might tell them yes. Which is just evil. Evil! So, just when JR and Bella give up on the paperwork, JR is about to leave, about to be deployed again because he's in the army. He was on leave for a couple of weeks to finish the sale of the Stockard business, dog food business, etc. JR sits on his desk and in his house or whatever, and I guess lifts up some papers that were on his desk or something and flips them over and sees a manila envelope, looks inside it, and bam, there's the property papers that him and Bella have been looking for all throughout the movie. He calls his lawyer, all excited, oh, look what I found, just when Rachel walks in. Rachel hears a phone conversation, hears that JR is getting so excited, and she is a sneaky, sneaky witch. She is sneaky. She goes and finds the manila envelope. First of all, JR, don't leave important papers like that around, because that is just bad. So anyway, Rachel, smart businesswoman, looks at the manila envelope and sees that this is the paperwork that shows that she doesn't own the property with the Bella rescue. She takes a copy of the paperwork and runs off, right? JR heads to the lawyer's office. I was like, oh, I'm excited that he got the paperwork. And he's going to be the savior, Bella's savior, I guess. And he's like, look, I found the paperwork. And looks in the manila envelope, and there's no paperwork. He's like, oh my God, dude, where is it? Where is it? I had it. And I guess there was another copy or something that Rachel missed, because sure enough, in that envelope, there was another copy, which was Nana's actual copy. Why the Stockards had their copy and Nana's copy, we don't know, but good thing that they did, because Rachel is a witch. Bella's rescue is staying put, etc. Anyway, the end of the movie, Rachel, JR does it to Rachel. He he switches from active duty to the reserves and stays, in town and adopts Cindy. Okay, so here's the thing. If anyone, for me as a military child, my dad was in the Army for like 24 years. He's retired. If I was to be nitpicky about like Hallmark not being reality or whatever, that's what I would have been nitpicky about, is the whole like, I'm not needed in this active duty war thingamajig. I'm just going to join the reserves instead, which does not happen. The military does not do that. No military in the world, I mean, at least the United States military doesn't do that. And since they had a U.S. flag in one of the background of the film, I would assume that they were saying that they were in the U.S., even though we know that they were filmed in Canada. But anyway, here's the thing. JR going from active duty to the reserves doesn't just happen like that. I mean, like, that's not normal. It's like, that doesn't happen. If I was to be nitpicky, I would have totally skipped over the whole property taxes thing and been like, what U.S. military branch is he in, and how do I join? How could my dad not have joined? But yeah. This movie, I have to give it like 4 stars. I love this movie. This movie was hilarious from beginning to end. Like, again, it was simple. It was not complicated. There were no side storylines. Every storyline was centered around getting this Bella rescue saved, right? I loved it. Bella and JR had a lot of chemistry. It was cute. Like, when I loved all their little mini dates that were not really dates, but they were dates, like when, I guess, my favorite part was when Bella and JR were like preparing for the TV interview that Bella was going to do. And they did like mock interview questions kind of thing. I thought that was so cute. It was adorable. It was sweet. I loved it. The dogs were 100% perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. There was great diversity in the movie. They had a disabled character. They had a gay couple. They had a Hispanic character in the movie. It was wonderful. It was great. They also had a love story, with an older couple, Nana and Ed. And again, nothing complicated. But for me, my favorite character in the whole film was Rachel. She was just, I'm sorry, she was like in the movie for a total of, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 minutes. But the whole time that she was on screen, you can't like take your eyes off of her. You can't. She's the most memorable character in the film. I remember when I was on Twitter after the movie aired, there were like 20 or 30 tweets that I could find anyway. That was all about Rachel. Rachel being mean, Rachel being a witch, Rachel. Someone said that they wanted to tar and feather her and drag her off. I mean, I had told the actress, Stephanie Mitchell, I said to her, like, you might need to hire bodyguards. You might need to, get Hallmark to hire you some bodyguards after this movie airs. And she was like, am I really that bad? I didn't want to say it, but yeah, your character was that evil, in my opinion. Anyway, the interview with Stephanie Moore will come out later this week. We talk about like her role as Rachel, her favorite Disney villain character, and some behind the scenes stories about the film. When I first saw it last week as part of like preparation for my interview with Brittany, I was just enamored with this woman. I was like, I don't know what it means But I say that the villain is my favorite character, but she's my favorite character. JR and Bella, they are also like such a great chemistry, so much fun. The dogs are great. The plot line again was very simple, very easy to follow. It wasn't like complicated, and it was lighthearted. It was, not that hard, if that makes sense, to follow. The plotline is that this woman wants to shut down the rescue. They gotta prove that they are the owners, and they fall in love while looking for the paperwork to prove that they're the owners. Bam. Oh, wow, that was like a one sentence summary of the plot. But yeah, it was such a great movie. The dogs were great. The chemistry was great. The diversity was great. And for the willy-nillys who want to nitpick about reality, you can do it if you want. I just am not that type of person, because that's nitpicking. And if you want to like go there, well, let's do it with every movie. But yeah, it's a good movie, fun. I'm sad that Spring Into Love is now over. We have a break next week, but that will mean that I will be releasing the 2 podcasts reviewing Curious Caterer, Die for Chocolate, and Love Classified. I haven't released those yet. I just been so busy with everything else. I didn't do that. Those will be out next week. The movies for May are Warming Up to You for May 5th with Cindy Busby and Christopher Russell, as well as Road Trip Romance starring Natalie Hall and Corey Seaver. That movie premieres on May 14th. Romance to the Rescue starring Andrea Brooks, Marcus Rosner, and Nathan Vita. That's also like the same weekend as One Calls the Heart season finale. So another One Calls the Heart double feature. That's on Hallmark Channel. On Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, they have 2 movies called Heart of the Matter starring Amy Teagarden, Gail O'Grady, Andrew Zakar, and Chandler Massey. That is on May 15th. And Rip in Time starring Tori DeVito and Niall Manor. So that's it for May. Can't wait to talk to you guys about it next month. If you are still listening at this point of the podcast, please join my Facebook group, Hallmark Movie Fans for Diversity. We talk about all the Hallmark films. We are advocates for diverse storylines, diverse casting in the Hallmark films. We don't allow homophobia or racism. We're very strict about that, not like other groups. If you want to support the podcast, please join my Buy Me a Coffee page. The link is in the description. It's only for $1 a month. You get early access to interviews and podcasts and stuff like that before it comes out. Anyway, see you guys later. See you guys next week. Talk to you later. Bye.